Oh, there we go. Wow, it feels weird to be back. It's like I haven't done a hosting for like 2 weeks. And I was having withdrawal symptoms the last 2 weeks by not being here. So I hope somebody missed me, because I missed everybody on the Thoughts on Thursday webinar program. So we've got some people joining us, which is always reassuring. Some people that I know, like Carol and Alex and Jim Bob, and lots of people I don't know. Oh, hey, Natasha and Stefano. Alan, welcome. Welcome to today's webinar. We're ready to start at 11 o'clock. So who's got their booster jab lined up? I've got my booster jab lined up for Saturday. Being such an old wrinkly, I get to go early. Oh, it's interesting times. The old virus is going up and down, but we're carrying on regardless. It's time to just go, right, let's crack on. Forget the ups and downs. It's just normal. Well, it's 11 o'clock and we're not normal here because we are exceptional. We have the wonderful Mindy with us today, and I'm so excited to be able to let her loose on your brains and inspire you, because she's had such a big impact on my life. Do remember to change your chat settings. It now says hosts and panelists, and you're better off changing it to everybody, because that way everyone can see the contribution you're making. So formally, let me introduce you to Mindy. She is an amazing woman, most commonly known as the book midwife, and has helped launch over 200 books for a host of thought leaders and authors. And she is a significant thought leader herself. And this title is important to all of us, this topic, because we all have the capacity to have an impact on many, many more people than we realize, I think. And Mindy will introduce us to that. So Mindy, over to you.
Thanks a lot, Bob. And welcome everybody, whether you're here with us live or watching the recording. I am indeed Mindy Gibbins-Klein. I am founder of a few brands. So the Book Midwife is one. And if you don't understand the metaphor, basically people have a book inside them. Many times they just need help and guidance to bring it out in a loving way. So that's the Book Midwife brand. And although I'm laughing, it has a really great track record, nearly 20 years. Over 1,000 authors have been through the program and written their books. It's pretty powerful, because most people, they're at risk of never writing the book. More on that later. And I run Panoma Press Publishing, and it is a publisher of business books and personal development books. And I think we have 2 or 3 of Bob's books in our catalog. So, you know, he's amazing. I will call him a thought leader. One of the rules, by the way, guys, is we're not allowed to call ourselves thought leaders. So if you're going to watch this and if you're going to participate, please don't call yourself one. There are certain rules, and you'll learn the rest of them in a minute. I also run Real Thought Leaders, which is a corporate training brand. And the purpose of that is to bring real thought leadership, not fake thought leadership, into the business world and encourage more business leaders to become truly thought leaders and thoughtful leaders. And that will help our economy, our society, and the individual. The individual is really important. So let's start with the individual. Let's start with you. We are delighted to have you here. If you are here live, you'll be able to answer my questions and my polls live. Otherwise, just answer it in your head, or you can always get in touch. So before I even present any information on this, I want to understand who is here and how you feel about thought leadership. So, you know, I just said, you're not allowed to call yourself a thought leader. I just said that 1 minute ago. But you can think it. So if you think or believe that you are a thought leader, then please let us know. And if you think that you're not, or not yet, then the answer is no. So this is just a very simple poll, yes or no. Just give us your gut instinct answer.
Poll is launched.
Let's see how many people believe they are thought leaders and how many people believe they are not or not yet.
We got 100% answered, so we'll end the poll. I think that's a world record. I don't know that we've ever had 100%.
I love it.
Before.
And?
Look at the nose! Yeah, 87% say no, 13% say yes. I didn't get to vote because the panelists aren't allowed to vote, but no. I'd be torn, Mindy. I suppose I would love to be called a thought leader.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Bob, because that is the point. And thank you for being honest, everybody, because if you're sitting there thinking, I am already one, you might still learn something today. You might not. Maybe there's nothing left for you to learn. But doing all this, doing the strategy and understanding these principles, approaching your business and approaching the market with these things in mind, it will allow others to call you a thought leader. And that is one of the keys. So if you're not allowed to call yourself one, you want the market to call you one. Well, maybe you do. I'll get to that. So thank you so much again for answering the first poll. You haven't even had a sip of coffee yet. We've only been here 5 minutes and already we're making you work. Yes. Thought leadership strategy requires a bit of work. All right. So why bother? Well, I've found in my 20 years of working with thought leadership, marketing, people who are speakers, trainers, coaches, who need to market themselves and be known, I found that there's a level of frustration where people see others getting publicity, others getting known, others winning business, when in fact they feel they should have that business or they should be the front of mind option. So if you've ever had that feeling like you have more to offer, you should be recognized, you should be the one receiving the kudos, receiving the business deals, type Y for yes in the chat. And remember, chat to everybody, not just the panelists. We understand. Bob and I both run several businesses, and many of you do too. Even running one business, you can have a great day, you can win a deal, you can have some amazing conversations, and then you go online and you see that competitor of yours is in the news again, or winning an award that you should have won, or whatever it is. This is not going to be a negative conversation, by the way. I just want to set the scene because this is totally normal. I really love what I do. I know I'm great at what I do. And at least once a week, there's something that I see that makes me think, oh, that should have been me. So remember, type a Y at any time during this hour-long presentation if you feel that what I'm saying resonates. Those Y for yes, that will really help us to stay on track and help you. So the good news is there is a strategy to improve your chances, and that's what we have for you today. Now, the strategy is always evolving. So I came out with 24 Carat Bold. If you know this book, this was my first book on thought leadership. It came out in 2009. So what is that, 12 years ago? Things have changed. Apparently in this book, I say something like, social media is a good idea. Always cracks me up. Well, it is, isn't it? But it hadn't really come into its own 12 years ago. But the point of it hasn't changed. It's just how we achieve things and the pivot. Okay, I've used the word now. The pivot that you need to do sometimes requires a bit of thought, hence thought leadership and being thoughtful. So I use thoughtful in a very intentional way. It's all very well to jump on the bandwagon and use buzzwords, and thought leadership has become a bit of a buzzword. But if you want to be smart and you want to kind of catapult above everyone else, they don't understand that it's not really about thought leadership. It's about being thoughtful. It's about putting more thought into your thought leadership and everything you do, putting more thought into the way you run your business, who you work with, how you work with them, what you offer, how fast you pivot. You can have a bingo card. How many times does Mindy say pivot today? You want to really understand that thought leadership, and especially thoughtful leadership, is a choice. Because most people won't bother. Most people aren't willing to put in the work. And therefore, most people will not become real thought leaders. So if you agree, type a Y for yes. If you are prepared to put in the thinking time, to put in the thought, and if the environment changes, which it always does, to put in more thought and be more thoughtful, you will win. You're already a winner, but you will win more business, more recognition, more of all the good stuff in business. And also you'll feel more fulfilled. I don't know about you, but I really like putting out content that shines, content that is my absolute best, my best ideas and insights. And I never feel quite right if I have something out there. It could be a little tweet that I did a few years ago, and I think, that's not as good as it could be. So think about it. Is it important to you that your content is out there representing you really well? Hint, the answer is yes, or it should be. Right. So I keep saying real thought leadership. Well, real is an acronym. And I will let you know one thing up front, and I'll explain it as we go. I don't have any slides for you today. There's several reasons for that. Sometimes people are just listening to the audio and they're driving or doing something else where they really shouldn't be watching a screen. But more importantly, my brand is all about words. And I speak slowly enough, I think, and I am going to explain everything. And it's up to you to write down what you want to remember. This is one of my principles. I don't like using slides. I don't like creating them. I don't think they represent me very well. And many times in Zoom, as you may know, when the slide goes up, then the little face is a tiny little thumbnail. I don't want that. I want you looking at me and listening to me. So this is my strategy because I'm not willing to do slides. So listen up, listen carefully. REAL is an acronym. And the first thing I'm going to talk about is the R, which stands for reach. Reach. Reach has a lot of different meanings. So it can mean which sector you work in. It can mean how many people you reach, how many prospects you have on your list. It can mean geography. So are you known just locally or nationally or globally? And all of these things are a choice, by the way. But if there's still work to do, if you feel that you don't have the reach that you deserve, then that's great, because that's where you start. And you put the stake in the ground and say, right, this is where I play. So just to give you an example, one of the fun things about running a business is, as I said before, the environment changes, the economy changes, lots of things change. And you have the opportunity, you know what I'm going to say, to pivot. Yes, because when I started the book Midwife in 2002, so it's 19 years old. Let's be specific. Things have changed. And I realized that although I could help anybody and support them to plan and write a great book fast, which is what we do, it's really entrepreneurs and business leaders where I feel I can do my best work. So it wasn't so much of a pivot as just niching and defining a much tighter niche. I still get people who are writing their life stories and other things, but all of my content and all of my messaging and everything has been honed down to entrepreneurs and business leaders in organizations, because I know that's where I enjoy working. That's where I could do my best work. What about you? If you're taking notes, just think about whether you have honed it to the point where you're reaching or aiming to reach your best prospects, your favorite clients, your ideal clients, because that's the choice. you can target just the people you really want to work with. Who would you love to work with over and over again, every single day for the rest of your life, or rest of your working life? You may not want to work for the rest of your life. Who would you love to work with? And if you have a favorite client, I know we shouldn't, but if you have a favorite one and you want people like them nonstop for the rest of your working life, then put the stake in the ground there. Declare where you want to go with your branding, with your business, with your strategy. So that's what reach is all about. A lot of people misunderstand reach. And if I ran a big software company or an app that measured your reach in terms of number of Twitter followers, number of Instagram followers, of course that would be my lens, but that's not. And Bob and I were talking about this recently, and we don't believe that it's necessarily the size of the market or the number of people. So it's not only quantity, it's quality. And I know you know this, but we do get sucked into this quantity mission. And it is up to you where you focus your efforts. And if you are being mentored by or listening to somebody who says you need 200,000 followers or you need 50,000 people in your email list, take a step back, be a thoughtful leader, and ask yourself, do I really? Do I really need to do all that work and aim to have more and more and more when you don't really know what the conversion is? That's the key, the conversion and the ability to work with and address and engage with the right clients. So reach is a fantastic place to start. And we're very lucky that that's the first letter of the acronym. So think about yourself. What would be the most exciting way that you could extend your reach? Think about it. And you don't have to put an answer, but if you want to declare something in the chat, please do. Let us know what you intend to do after this webinar. Well, I'll share one of mine with you. I'll go first. So I said about niching down and working only with business leaders and entrepreneurs, but that's not strictly true, because recently, in the past 5 years, I've realized that I want to give back a lot more. I've had a lot of success, and I do share, and I think I'm a very caring, giving, and sharing person. But I really wanted to give back to the next generation. And, the business leader message doesn't work. I wanted to speak in schools, and in particular, girls' schools. And that's what I decided to do. So I made a separate strategy to extend my reach in that area. And one of my team was focused on this for the best part of a year. I did 5 wonderful gigs in schools, and then COVID hit, and I managed to do 1 or 2 virtually. But this is something that's going to be ongoing. It was my choice. I want to reach young people, and in my case, particularly young women who are still in education. And I feel that I have a message for them. And I share my story, I share insights, I aim to inspire and help them understand that it's not just their normal curriculum that they need to obsess with. So that is my own particular reach strategy at the moment. And of course, it would be remiss of me not to mention that if you know a girls' school and you think I would be good to speak to the students there, please let me know. I think that's enough on reach, because we have 3 other elements I need to chat with you about. And the next one goes together with reach. So you'll like this. I've used the word already. It's engagement. Engagement. Now, if we were having a conversation, if we were at a round table or a long boardroom table or something like that, I probably wouldn't be presenting this information like this. In fact, I do a half-day workshop on this exact topic. But we don't have half a day, we have 1 hour. So my engagement strategy, I'm just going to share with you right now. I haven't got the slides. It's just you and me and you. That's it. It's my message, and it's how you interpret that message and what you do with it. That is it. When you are thinking about going to market, or you're thinking about launching or promoting one of your products or services, you need to have an engagement strategy. And those two words, you don't often hear them together, do you? Engagement strategy. Because engagement is one of these lovely, warm and fuzzy things, and it should just happen. And it doesn't. You know, in today's busy, crazy world, engagement can kind of go by the wayside. And, you know, a pandemic and all the challenges that that brings, that can create a kind of crisis and firefighting mode. And engagement requires a bit more effort. I call it strategy. So the engagement strategy is how you approach certain people. So what media you use, for example, meeting with them, if that's allowed, and telephone calls, texts, WhatsApp, emails, doing videos, video conferencing, or Zoom sessions. So there's a lot of ways to engage with people. There's the written, so you can write an email and they read it, you know, even an email that goes to an entire list. There's the audible, audio, and you can have a conversation by phone or in person and Zoom and things like that. There's video, which it's been very helpful over the past couple of years because you get all the other senses going on. However, I know some people who have been invited to video Zooms and they've had their cameras off. I'm not talking about today because we have all your cameras off. I'm talking about a session where it's a team, it's a group, and some people do not feel comfortable putting their video on. That is not the way they like engaging. If they were in the workplace and they had to deal with someone face to face, they would, but they really, really don't like speaking to the screen. So if you are a leader of teams, or if you are aiming to communicate with people and extend your reach in the right way with the right people, you really need to know how they want to engage, because you have so many options available to you. And this has been challenging for me and some of my clients who really enjoy talking. I once had somebody in a workshop say, "Can you just pause?" Because it was like a fire hydrant. I had so much that I was sharing and they were trying to write things down. I was excited, as I usually am, presenting ideas and sharing stuff, and I needed to pause. And they asked me to. And it's great when someone gives you that gift, isn't it? So being a thoughtful leader means engaging thoughtfully. And things really have changed. If people really are stressed out, they may see your name come up on their phone and not answer the call. It could happen. They may see your text and ignore it, or email. So what do you do with that? Well, there's an expression, I'm sure you've heard it: listen harder to what they want. I don't like the word harder because, you know, I just think it's not hard work, this stuff. So let's say listen easier. Okay, let's make it easy, which means it's on you. It's on you and me to get ourselves into the right mode and not listen harder and make it something that we're ticking the box. Okay, you know, he wants a video, she wants an email. No, it's not that. Relax. If you're relaxed and you're open and you've minimized the stress on yourself, then it's easy to listen to someone else. Yes, you need to carve out the time and space, and you need to have the intention. So this is where things have changed. None of this is in 24 Carat Bold, by the way. I didn't have that insight 12 years ago, but I do now, because some people are not ready to receive your message. Some people really want it in a different format, for lack of a better word. So different strokes. We're going to do a poll right now. And I wonder, what is your preferred way to engage? What is your preferred medium, for example?
Poll launched.
The poll is launched. Please answer it honestly, like you did with the other. It'll give us an idea of who's who and what you're thinking. Just choose your preferred. I know you might like them all.
Yeah, I only said it to allow one option. I thought that.
I think, yeah, because otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah, all of the above would have won, right?
Yes, but no.
Okay, we have 100% answered. So I'm ending the poll, sharing the results, and here we go. 53% prefer meetings, even when it includes Zoom. 27 on telephone, 13 on social media, 7 on emails. Yay.
Okay, guys, stop emailing your list. This is not the point. Each one has its place, but this is not a surprise to me and probably to Bob and some of the others of you. Email has had its day. It's, I dread opening up my email account some days because I just know there's hundreds of things and there's a very small percentage of them that I want to see, that I need to see, that actually have any valuable content. And Bob's emails are included in that. But I really
Thank you.
I want you to think about this before you just keep doing what you've been doing, because engagement means meeting people where they are and listening easier, listening to what they want, and where possible, giving it to them. So this is an opportunity. Each of these 4 elements is an opportunity. I said they were secrets. They're not secrets because none of the words are secret. However, how to utilize the strategy, this is a big secret now, because you know what most people do? I'm going to leave you with a thought just to let it sit there and think about this over the next few days. Most people are totally being influenced by what they see and hear and what people are telling them to do and what they're consuming, especially. This is really, really interesting and kind of sad, especially the influencers they listen to. I'm not a sheep. I'm a bit of a black sheep, actually, but I'm not someone who just follows. But every now and then I realize I'm getting sucked into something that's, oh my gosh, but they have 1 million followers. And I don't even realize how much I'm investing in trusting them, listening to them, following their guidance and advice. Become aware, guys. Become aware, because that's the first step. And then you can actually do something about it. Engagement is your own personal strategy, your choice, your opportunity. I hope you are beginning to feel empowered. And if you're a black sheep like me, keep doing what you're doing. Do Zooms with no PowerPoint. Force people onto your videos because you know that that's the best way. Oh, don't force, maybe. But if you have a team member, talk to them, persuade them that you really do need all the senses. And well, not all, because there's no touching, but more senses than just the voice. All right, so we've been through the R, we've been through the E, we're halfway through. And if you are feeling empowered and feeling great and enjoying, just type a Y for yes. That just gives us a warm fuzzy. I can't see the chat, by the way. So this is great. Bob will have the warm fuzzy, and I'll just assume that
we're getting yeses. We're getting lots of yeses.
I like assuming everybody's having a great time. I am anyway. That's the main thing. Okay, let's talk about the A, because a lot of people think that thought leadership is only about this next element. It's authority. A for authority. I don't mean being the president or being the managing director or in a position of authority, not that. It's being seen as an authority. And this is, I think, what most people see as thought leadership, but it's not, because there's a lot of authorities in every sector. There are a lot of authorities in your space. Yes, I'm talking to you right now. There are more and more authorities in my space. And I don't mean my space, the platform, I mean in my space, in my industry. You will meet people who believe that they are the authority, but how can everybody be the top authority? The answer is they can't. And the better answer is, it's not about being the top authority, because you really only need to be seen as a trusted authority with those people in that niche that you've defined in the reach area, and engage with them the way they want to engage. And it doesn't matter if there are so many other people with lots of experience and lots of case studies and lots of everything else. It doesn't matter, because authority is not only about the numbers, the biggest, even the first. I mean, I think the book Midwife was one of the first, probably the first in the UK, to be a book coaching brand. That was not a thing 19 years ago. However, it's not about being the only one, and we're certainly not the only ones now. So if you put too much stock into something like that, you may need to pivot earlier than you realized. So let's not go there. Let's talk about other ways to be an authority. So in 24 Carat Bold, which, I really recommend, it's a little bit out of date, and it's supposed to be coming out with another edition, and it will. But if you can appreciate it for what it is, the principles have not changed. Authority is the key piece, because if you're building your reach and you're engaging, but you don't have anything to say, then I don't know what you'll be seen as, but possibly not an authority. The great news is, if you've been thinking, I have all these ideas, but I'm overwhelmed, I don't know where to start, which ones do I share? Take a deep breath, smile, and know that, again, you are empowered. You can share whatever it is that you're most passionate about. This requires thoughtful leadership. This requires that time and space, and give yourself that gift, because you need to craft something that you're happy sharing and that you're proud of, and that resonates or has a good chance of resonating. Let me remind you, we can't control how our content and messages land. We can spend a year putting together the most fabulous product, service, book, but we cannot control how the recipients of that message respond. I hope this makes sense, because if you can let go of that element, let go of the outcome, and focus on really going deep, going into your heart, not just your head, really sharing those big, bold, important messages that you care about, they will attract the right people. You will be seen as an authority by the right people. It's about you being confident that this is the most important thing you want to share. And I do still believe that the bolder, the better. I don't believe in being contrarian or just saying something because it's the opposite. That's being contrarian. But I think if there is a bold message that you have, something you feel strongly about, you deserve to be able to share that over and over. Get that out there. And this is where it doesn't matter what anybody else is doing, because you will have the pride of sharing that in that way. So the thing about authority, if you want to know some of the ways in which people view authority, it is experience. It's quite difficult to be seen as an authority when you're just getting started in business or your career. It is a bit harder, a lot harder. But you have some experience, and that may give you some level of expertise. It may, because some people have a lot of experience, but they never develop expertise. And the expertise, and really focusing and really honing that and developing that over many years, that can result in insights. Insights, not always, not always. But if you have developed yourself, your career, and you have strong ideas and insights from what you've seen and what you've done and what you've learned, then that is how you progress in the market. So it doesn't matter what you've done before and what content you've put out before, even if you've written books and you feel they don't really represent your biggest, boldest thinking, it doesn't matter, because you can always do more. This is one area where more is more. I'll talk about this more in the next section. But the authority needs to come out. You do not want to be the world's best kept secret. Your market, your industry, your clients and prospects need to know about you. And so putting this thinking in and putting something out there that you're proud of gives you a better chance, and you'll have more conversations and more likes and comments and shares on social media. More importantly, you will have the right clients, the right business, and everything will flow. So this is where it starts, to decide what it is that you are an authority in. And this is really very tricky for some people. And the bolder, I say go bold, that creates a lot of fear. Oh my gosh, what if I say something that, a lot of people don't agree with? What if you do? What if you say something that is bold and a bit opinionated? Here's the trick. It's not just bold and opinionated. It's bold and opinionated, yet respectful. And this has always been the key, but especially now. I don't know if you realize, but there are 2.5 million books being published every year. I know this because I work in the industry. And the people who are trying to be thought leaders are aiming to bring a book out and have that needle in the haystack be found by a big market. It's harder and harder. It's harder than ever. So you do need to be bold. You do need to really go for it and be respectful at the same time. And this is the balancing act. And this is why it requires care. This is why it starts with your intention. If you really have the intention to help and support and guide people and to leave a legacy and to give back, then this is the area where you hone and craft and put together those messages and those products. If you're doing books and videos and seminars, you put it together thoughtfully, you'll be proud of it. It'll be a much better result. It will land with the right people. I promise. I've seen this over nearly 20 years. The people who put together their thought leadership thoughtfully are winning every day, every single day. I meet with them. Many of them get interviewed on my podcast because I have almost a sixth sense and I can tell when somebody really cares. Let's talk about the senses, by the way. When you are thinking about getting yourself into the market, well, actually, let's move into the last area because this is where I want to bring in some of the sensory elements. And in the interest of time, you will need to think about your authority outside of this webinar because it's not just a 1-minute decision or exercise. The L, so we've had reach for the R, engagement for the E, authority for the A. The L in 24 Carat Bold, it's called longevity, but I'm changing it to legacy. It also starts with L, so we're all good. But that is the thing that most people begin caring about at some point. Some don't. Most people would love to leave a legacy of some kind. And that means different things to different people. It means money, it means organizations, it means possessions. In many cases, it means learning, leaving that learning, those lessons. In my area of work, it means leaving a great book behind to help the next generation. Not behind, let's not talk about you dying or anything, but you can leave a legacy even while you are still here. That's really great. So legacy, what is a thoughtful legacy? Well, basically, it's proof. It's proof that you are an authority and that you have exciting and disruptive and original ideas, thought-leading ideas. It's reaching the market that you want to reach with the kind of engagement that works, that really resonates. And all of that leads to that proof, that evidence that you are a truly thoughtful leader or a real thought leader. And both, you can be both. So you don't want to limit yourself here. Don't think when I retire, then I'll give back, then I'll volunteer, then I'll write books. And my advice is begin leaving your legacy now. maybe right now, but maybe after the webinar is finished. Really, what could you achieve while you are still here to give yourself that great sense of achievement, fulfillment, pride, and help people at the same time? Or you can wait till you retire. It's up to you. Everything is up to you. What should you produce and how? So I promised you we would talk about the senses, and there are only 5 that I can talk about because the 6th sense is very personal. And, you know, when you get that feeling and the goosebumps, you could create that, but I don't really have a strategy for that. But I think you want to be thinking about the different senses, really, at least the main 3, which is visual. So if you're like me and you enjoy speaking and you don't enjoy producing slides, you at least have to have a visual element, hence why I do video webinars. And I do actually record the videos of my podcasts just to have that extra sense for people who prefer to deal with things visually. Auditory. So, you know, do you have anything that you are doing, or is it all written? Is there anything that you are recording? Do you have a podcast, or do you appear as a guest on others' podcasts? Because that's something that you can do before starting your own, or you may never start your own. But think about the audio element. Think about the way you use your voice. If you have a book and you haven't done the audio version of it, do it, because it gives people, certainly there are people who only listen to audiobooks. If you would like to be seen as a thought leader in the widest possible market, you need to address people, as we said, you need to engage with them in the different ways that they prefer. And I know so many people who only listen to audiobooks and they don't read books in print, paperback or hardback, or even Kindle or ebook versions. So if you don't have audio material, you're missing out. They're missing out, right? They're missing out. So think about the senses. So think about kinesthetic, which is the touch. You really can create this even if you're not in person. So kinesthetic also means how you make people feel. So I guess it's related to those goosebumps. But did you see what I did before when I stroked the book? This is, well, I enjoy stroking it, and we happen to have put some gold foil on it, but this is a special edition. But you can do this. And if you produce something tangible, not just digital, you give others the opportunity, maybe not to stroke your book, but to feel the pages. It creates something else in the body of your recipient, of your client. So I always feel sad when people say they're going to do ebooks and e-reports and keep everything digital, and they're recording videos, but there's nothing for people to get their hands on. It's your choice, I say to them, and I'm saying to you, but it really is special when you have something tangible, not just digital. Consider what you can do. I still have CDs and DVDs here in the office, but most people don't have a way to play them. So we are now thinking of other things. We've done the USB sticks, but some people don't even have a place to plug that in. I think most people do. You know, again, time for a pivot, time to take a step back, create some time and space. And we need to constantly, if we want to be thoughtful leaders, we need to constantly go back to the drawing board, or not the drawing board, but take one step back and think, okay, things have shifted. How do we shift? How do I shift? And again, it's a choice. Some people can't be bothered. They're too busy. So, you know, we just leave them behind. But I think that you want to do more. I hope. Anyway, the final point about this, and I really want you to consider this beyond this webinar, is how much do you really want it? Because I've alluded to this a few times. Legacy is a big word. It may not be something you think about every day. How much do you want to give of yourself while you are still here on the planet, and engage with the perfect people who will really benefit from and appreciate your message. How much do you want to do it? And if so, I have a question for you. And only answer this in a way that you're happy to have it public, because you're going to answer it in the chat. If you're live with us now, how great is this? Share something that you're willing to share. And this is the question. What is missing for you? So I've spoken about reach and reaching into different areas, new areas, niche areas, things that you care about, engaging, listening with ease, listening easily, and providing the engagement in the way that your clients and your contacts want. I've spoken about authority and really being clear and being bold and opinionated, yet respectful, and legacy. How are you remembered when you've left that room, when you finished that webinar, when you finished that conversation, when they finish reading your book? Do you have something to leave with people so that they can appreciate and really see your legacy today? Is there anything missing? If you're willing to share it, or you would like to focus on one of these areas, be specific and share what you're willing to share in the chat right now. And Bob, I'm kind of done with the content. I know we want to share.
Can't believe how many notes I've made, woman.
Oh.
You were saying earlier on how, I've probably listened to Mindy, I don't know, a dozen times, and I've said to her, every time you give me something, it's like, how is that possible? Thank you, Mindy. What a welcome back after my 2 weeks away. You're a real inspiration.
Oh, thank you so much.
So, team, send in your questions. Now, we do already have some questions. I don't mind if you put them in the Q&A or whether you put them in the chat. But the first question comes in about what's the best media? Oops, I don't know how I did that poll. Get out of it. Don't want to share the results from the polls again. What is the best media for different types of people? So one question is about generations and ages. One question is about cultures, because this person started talking to people in the Philippines, for instance. So what's your thoughts on which types of media, what channels best suit the different ages, the different types of people that we come across?
Right. So this is where we all really want to listen easily, listen carefully. This is something that I don't think I could answer for anybody here, because and it could be shifting. So you could be working in a sector that was really responsive when you were doing emails 10 years ago, but things have shifted. So what I would say is a strategy to listen, set out the intention, make it really clear. I'm into specifics. Write it out for yourself. I want to understand what is the best medium to use for this market, for this strategy, for this product launch, for whatever it is. And then you need to ask. You can do focus groups, which is more efficient than having many one-to-one conversations. You can do surveys and polls. You can do them very easily on LinkedIn now. And people really do want to share with you, but you have to ask. So it's great that you asked me and you asked Bob, but we're not the right ones. Ask in your market and you will receive.
Yeah, I think it's really important to do at least some of your own research to back up some of the things that we read on good old Google. It's so easy for people to publish inappropriate or inaccurate information about, the best things to do in X, Y, and Z situations. I often find myself just double checking the facts with my own audience, as you suggest, Mindy. It's a great insight. Next question. It's a closed question, but I'd rather you gave me a bit more of an open answer, if that's possible. Yes. Are there any businesses that could not benefit from a thoughtful leader?
Nope. No, really, I think everybody listening to us here live and to the recording would agree that thoughtful leadership would help in so many areas of our business life, in society, solve big problems in the world. Need I say more? So there's never too much. And I just wish more people would stop and consider what they're doing, what they're saying, how they're going out into the market. And we're making a dent. We are making a dent, but no, it's valuable everywhere, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. A different question. I'm afraid to put my ideas out there. I'm worried about them being stolen. What are your thoughts?
There is no such thing as protecting your ideas. Seriously. And I'm sorry to tell you, but unless somebody copies a string of words or a registered trademark of yours, you have no recourse. And so I make a little joke in The Thoughtful Leader. I can't believe I forgot to show you one of my latest books. The Thoughtful Leader, there's a little bit in there that says IP means it's public. So just assume that it's going to be out there, but you do want the first mover advantage. I have all these years of experience that I keep going on about. A lot of people have jumped into the ring with me. I mean, it's not a boxing ring, but they've jumped into the industry. And that's great, because I know where I came from. I know what I've done. I know how my methodology has evolved over the years and will continue to evolve, because I'm not afraid of that strategy work and that hard work. But if you can focus on that, take that step back, do the thoughtful leadership and forget about what everyone else does, you'll feel better. If you're focused on, oh my gosh, they're copying, and people will copy. And I really feel sad if that stops you bringing your best ideas to the market, because you're missing out. But most importantly, your clients are missing out.
Yeah. Yeah. No, very good points there, Mindy. Another question in. Mindy, would you try a couple of different engagement strategies simultaneously and see which gives you the best results? Or would you try them one at a time?
Yeah, I mean, you can. It depends how much time and effort and maybe money is required for these things. So, if someone was doing a book with the book midwife method, I wouldn't say bring out two different books and see which one does better. And I mean, you can, but, that's quite costly. But if it's a question of doing a couple of 5-minute videos, one with a serious face and one with a smiley face, or, something that isn't going to require a lot of time, effort, or money, go ahead. So that, for me, the time, effort, and money, and of course, time is money as well, you don't want to waste. And I don't know, I am also a bit dubious whether you would get an accurate result split testing two things that you chose at random. We could have a long discussion about that, but there are so many other factors that could be at play, and you might make a decision based on the wrong information. It could happen.
Yeah.
So what am I saying? I'm saying do what feels right, do what excites you. I feel, this is Alex, do give yourself the best chance of putting something out there that makes you feel fulfilled and proud, because no matter what happens with it, you have that result. Remember what I said, you cannot control the outcome. And don't try to. That's a waste of effort, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a very powerful statement to kind of release yourself and empower yourself, let go of that fear or hesitation, get it out there. Yeah. Certainly, I've definitely felt the benefit of that. Best prospects reach. We have a question on that. People talk about having an avatar or a profile for an ideal prospect or an ideal customer. How detailed should it be, in your opinion?
You know what? We've gone around and around, and we've shifted this, as you might expect. It's evolved over the years. It's good to have an avatar. It's good to be able to picture someone. But I think the more important thing is to picture your ideal client who you've already worked with. Well, hopefully everyone has at least one client Well, if not, then you'll need to just, concoct something from your imagination. But that I prefer thinking about that, because what would I love to do? I would love to clone my ideal client over and over again and work with them over and over again every day for the rest of my working life. That's what I would do. Don't do this whole dramatic thing. You can be too specific. You can focus on, he has 2 teenage sons and they play football, and so you might be putting these blinkers on. In fact, this is the danger of over niching or niching too much. And then you're focused on that 2 teenage sons and they play football and the father's there, whatever. And there might be people who really don't have that situation. So I think be careful with the niching, with the avatar creation.
Yeah, wise words. Authority, a question came in on when you were talking about that topic. It's like, do my ideas have to be unique as well as bold?
Here's one of my favorite expressions that I've created. Don't seek unique. Don't seek unique. First of all, the market decides if it's unique. Secondly, you're going to spend all that time trying to, make it sound unique. And to do that, you need to look at what everyone else is doing. Otherwise, how will you know if it's unique or different? There's dangers in looking at what everyone else is doing, as I do speak about and write about in The Thoughtful Leader. The biggest danger is you're looking and reading and watching, and you are more vulnerable than you realize. And you might have some very fragile confidence going on. And then you see, it's been done. He said it, or he said it so well. What's the point? And you're trying to make sure you know what everyone else is doing so that you can pull away from the pack. But in watching them, you're actually eroding your fragile self-confidence. This is another big topic that I do with people. I wouldn't do it. So if you're not seeking unique, but you're going inside and you're being thoughtful about your biggest, boldest, best ideas, there's strategy work that you can do. And have a chat with me if you ever want to do that kind of work, because we just ignore everyone and everything else, and make sure that you have something that you're proud of. I know I've said it many times, that's really the message for today. The real thought leader is thinking about the market, but I'm saying that it's more than fine, that it is in fact preferred that you please yourself and that you like what you're producing. Otherwise, you won't feel satisfied, and that's a horrible result.
Well, we've got another question sneak in. We'll squeeze in one more before we wrap up. I've had lots of comments in the chat, Mindy. I will send you the chat because there's lots of people who've been very complimentary about your contribution today. Thank you. So Graham asked, how much does it cost a layperson to publish a book in approximate terms?
Yeah. You can do it for as little as about $7,000. I don't know where people are based, so I'll use dollars. You can spend as much as, $30,000, but you depends what you want. It depends on how much of a launch you want. The big difference comes with things like PR, like getting the message out and launching the book to the media. We're launching a book today, actually. This won't be relevant for people watching the recording, but the book is called P.S. I Love Me by Gina Sawyer. And she's a self-love expert. And if you know anything about me, well, you do now, having seen me present this stuff, you know that is about loving what you do and having that confidence in yourself. Yes, loving yourself, it does start with that. Anyway, the point is, there's a big PR effort going on there. Not every book is launched in that way, but I think the minimum is about $7,000. For a business person, I think that's a very acceptable business expense. If anybody ever wants to talk about planning, writing, and publishing books, find me, call me.
I certainly would recommend that, having published 3 books now through Mindy, and a 4th one in the planning. Watch out, Mindy. And we've now done 1 audiobook. I would thoroughly recommend working with the wonderful Mindy.
Thank you so much. Just remember, Bob, it's not about the book. It's about becoming a thoughtful leader. So I want to squeeze in something about our upcoming thoughtful leadership.
Yes,
conference.
please do. I'm ready with the chat link. Go for it.
It's called Above and Beyond. It's the Thoughtful Leadership Conference. There is no other conference like it, and there is no conference that focuses exclusively on thoughtful leadership in life and business. And this is the third iteration, the third time we'll be running it. It's going to be virtual again to have the best accessibility for the largest number of people. We had hundreds of people attend last time, phenomenal feedback. Anybody who is serious about this stuff, get yourself there. It is a full day dedicated to thoughtful leadership. You think there's a lot of ideas in 1 hour. You just wait till there's a whole day, and there's early bird tickets available for another 2 weeks. So you have to be quick, and we'd love to see you there. So have a look at the link that Bob put in the chat, save that, and hopefully we'll see you there.
Yeah, well, I would say don't save it. Click on it. Get on with it.
Yeah, sorry. Click it.
Having been to both the previous ones, had the pleasure of being involved in both, I would definitely say you need to be there. Next week, Mindy's going to be a hard act for Dawn to follow you, but we have Dawn Klatso, who's talking about redesigning and reinventing and reigniting your brand. And I don't know how she's going to bring her friend with her. You can see her on the screen, but somehow that mannequin's going to get involved. So it's going to be fascinating to see. I guess that's a form of engagement. Would you think, Mindy?
Absolutely. And it brings in various senses, including the sixth sense.
So thank you, Mindy. You've been amazing. Please fill in the feedback survey and connect up with Mindy, and make sure you're at the Thoughtful Leadership event later this year. See you next week. Make it a great week. Bye, everybody. Thanks very much. Bye.